and speed. Apsen has created 18 major information systems and 6
us now. We don't the glow. Take a look at me now. Take a look at me now. Only thing seen is that makes me forget that I still need your support. Red, red wine. It's up to you.
All right. I'd like to ask us that we rise as we sing the national anthem before we begin this event. Please, let's all stand up, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please have your seats. We must be grateful to DJs we have at events who play the national anthem, because if we say we should sing it now, we know what's going to happen, right? Good. God bless you, DJ Terry. Round of applause for DJ Terry, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizers of LOMA Conference and Awards 2025, I'd like to welcome every one of us to this auspicious event. Now, this is a conference, yes, but it's beyond just a conference. This is actually a gathering engineered to help us take full advantage of out-of-home advertising. And of course, first and foremost, I'd like to say a round of applause for yourselves for coming out. Please put your hands together for yourselves, please. Now, I believe that for you to be here right now, it means that you are concerned about out-of-home advertising and you're looking to use it to benefit your business and your enterprise. Now, this year's theme being a smarter out-of-home advertising for business growth is very, very important. And I'd like to say first off, can we put our hands together for the organizers, please? This is the third edition, and this tells you one thing: consistency, which is key to any form of success that you want to get. Now, I must say that every one of us here is looking amazing. Round of applause for yourselves once again. Thank you. Please, can you turn to the person next to you and find out what they do? How about that? Turn to the next person, find out what they do. Ask them about, the business. Get a name, get some information about them. Can we do that? Nobody's doing it. Why? Okay, you know what? Turn to the person next to you. Ask the person, how much do you want? Oh, look at that. Everybody's talking now. We're not too like money. All right, standing in front of you, standing here on this podium is Chiwete Onyema. I'm a TV and news anchor representing News Central Television. I'm a master of ceremony, and I'm also a voice-over artist. This event, so a lot of us are new. That's good. I can promise you one thing, right? You're not going to leave here the same, all right? So feel free to interact. Feel free to learn from our panel sessions, because there's a lot to learn from. We're going to have panel sessions. We're going to have keynote presentations. And we also have exhibitions. So from time to time, when we have breaks, feel free to visit the individual stands. We have our partners here fully backing us up for this event. All right, without wasting much time, I'm just going to go straight into the next thing on our item, which is, of course, hearing from the man behind all of this. Now, I know he's not alone. I know he has a team, but he is the brain behind all of the concept of us paying attention to out-of-home advertising. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome Kingsley Onwukaome, the convener of LOMA Conference Awards 2025. Round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I know my voice is tiny, but at least it can ginger the house. Good morning once more. That's better. Okay, thank you, Chiwetalu, for this quick introduction, and I think it sets the pace for the day. But without wasting much of a time, I just want to say LOMA is coming from a long distance right now. We've been coming for a long way, and I'm excited how far we've come, and I'm excited for what the future holds for LOMA Conference and Awards. Honestly, it's not an easy journey, considering the market we are in, for those who understand the intricacies that surrounds the industry. But I'm happy that it's picking up, and we're getting there gradually. The conference part of this location marketing activities is not a waste of time for those who might think is just a gathering of a kind of compulsory or just to meet people alone. It has inspired a lot of changes, and we've seen it happen. First year, we had that, and some changes happened in the industry. Last year, we had LOMA again. Within the last 12 months, we've seen a lot of improvement in operational activities and the growth of the industry in general. And to be specific in this growth we are seeing, I want to say because we had LOMA last year, one of the media partners in the market has been able to partner with one of the football clubs, in local football clubs, to set up stadium LED branding. And that was because we had a conversation. Please, a round of applause for this industry. We are growing. Also, before last year, we had quite a scantily, but even we struggled to have a proper programmatic execution of out-of-home advertising campaigns in the Nigerian market. But after last year, within this year, the past 12 months, we've had quite a number of new programmatic campaigns that have been churned out. And when I begin to get the feedback, that's the reason we are doing it again this year, to see how we can inspire more practitioners, professionals in the industry to take charge and show the global market that Nigeria is always better than whatever they can see. And I know what I'm saying. I've been in some global meetings, and I've seen that we have what it takes to show them that it could be global, but we can localize it and give them a better perspective to how these things are done. If you don't know that Nigeria is the only market that is known for gigantic structures. And we are proud we pride in that. Okay? So today I encourage everyone and indulge you all. Sit, learn, network, and collaborate, because that collaboration is the essence of this whole gathering. Thank you to our sponsors and everyone who has made this possible for today. And I'm going to have a swell time today. I ask you all to have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.
Round of applause once for the convener of LOMA Conference Awards. Round of applause for him, please. All right, thank you very much. Now, without wasting much time, but before I go to the next item on the program, I want to ask, let's have a conversation as Nigerians. Now, there's something that we normally see, right? If you're probably on the line somewhere, and someone asks you, are you the last person? You hear people say, God forbid, I'm not the last person. You hear things like that, right? Most likely. But why is that when we came in here today, a lot of us sat at the back first. Nobody came forward. Is there any reason for that? Is there any reason for that? Why are we always scared to come forward when we come to, events or places like this? Anyway, please, if there's a space in front of you, please just try and occupy it, all right? Please do that so it will help with, of course, our sitting arrangement. But please, now that the event has started, I'd like to ask that nobody crosses this path, right? The essence is because we're covering this event and we don't want to look clumsy, all right? So please, let's do that. Moving on right now, we're going to be hearing from someone that is very, very much known in the advertising space. He's one person that when you hear the name, you just know that this is somebody of note. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next to give us a keynote presentation is the Managing Director, Media Reach OMD Nigeria, Mr. Stephen Oluwatoyin Onaive. Round of applause for him, please, as he comes forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, I'm not the MD. My name is Promise. So what I'm here to do is to represent Stephen, who could not make it because he has some other official engagements. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I want to actually congratulate Kingsley for taking up this initiative. It's not easy, and he has actually made it a success, and it's still growing. So encouraging everyone to support him. So I'm going to be speaking on out of home in the age of attention scarcity. All right, so we want to start with this quote by Stephen King. He says, in an information-rich world, this abundance means a scarcity of something else. The scarcity of what informs consumers. What information consumes is obvious. It consumes the attention of its recipients. So, in essence, what he's saying is that the consumer for whom the information is meant for is being also consumed. And as a result, there's an attention problem. So, I'm going to be speaking to these four items that is on the screen: establishing the cause of attention scarcity, how out-of-home fills the attention space, the place of out-of-home in the age of attention scarcity, and then, of course, I'll look at some cases. And, of course, how brands are reinventing on out-of-home in the Nigerian market space. Yeah, next slide. So when you look at this slide, the question is, what is this? So we are living in an age where people are facing the barrage of information all at the same time. So the battle for attention. Okay, consumers feed 10,000 hours daily. Only the bold and the smart cut through. Shouting louder versus focusing smarter, becomes more like the problem that we need to solve. How do I focus smarter and, take myself away from the noise that you find in the environment? So every day people face barrage of different ads. And that's why Dr. Joseph said plenty of information leads to scarcity of attention. When people are overwhelmed with the volume of information confronting them, it is hard to know what to focus on. Attention rather than information becomes the scarce commodity. Next slide. So today's consumers is overwhelmed with endless choices for consumption, making attention the scarcest commodity. And this is very obvious in homes. I mean, before now we used to talk about, family, sessions or family sitting together to watch TV. But that doesn't happen anymore. You don't have that family-oriented, situations in most homes anymore because people are busy with their phones. People are becoming very individualistic with regards to what they consume and then the device that they consume those digital contents from. So you can actually pin them irrespective of who you are, whether you are their dad or their mom or their elder brother or sister. The question is the fact that people are becoming very individualistic. And so that's what's leading to these findings. Okay? If the average attention span had already fallen to 8 seconds in 2022, then imagine how much more fragmented and contested it is in 2025, where every swipe, scroll, and information competes for a share of human focus. So the average human attention in 2000 was about 12 seconds. Then it reduced to 8 seconds in 2022. And then that is like more like the attention span of a golden fish. And yet our attention span is ever declining. You also, like you're going to see in the next slide. So Nielsen is saying that even now you have just 3.5 seconds to make an impact, which rather makes it even further tougher for us to break through. You will also see that it is coming even lower than 3.5 seconds. Next slide. And then recently, from OMG, we are seeing that attention span is reducing even further, 2.5 seconds. And that 85% of all advertising receives less than 2.5 seconds of attention. So that should give us a thought for us to consider, making it even further tougher for ads to break through. Next slide. Not to talk of the consumer's expectation contradictions. Every day we go through all of this. We have no time for recall because we have so many things to remember. You want variety in various ways, seamless purchase options, requires fragmented communications within a time scale. All right, is it the right price? Does it fit into my meager disposable income? And so on and so forth. The things that consumers go through every day. And these things impinge on their attention as well. Next slide. The recent studies indicate that this is not about shorter spans, but harder competition for attention. So focus is more, fragmented because, a typical consumer is drowned with so much across digital platforms, across communication platforms, and of course, what he consumes. So researchers have also looked at attention span, and they have quite a lot to say. Pew Research in 2022 said that 67% of adults worldwide say constant notifications make it harder to focus. Because with your phone, every day there are several notifications. In fact, a lot of people have shut down quite a number of apps because consistently you receive notifications, even some that you did not opt for. And this is beginning to make it harder for consumers to focus. Multi-screening. 75% of people use a second screen while watching TV, according to Nielsen 2023. Then after a digital interruption, it takes about 25 minutes to return to the original task. All right? So what tends to happen is that because attention is reduced, and because you have so many things to pay attention to, then it is difficult for you to return to a digital content once at a distraction, because you are actually, attention is shared, by so many other contradictions or other issues that you're dealing with. Then screen switching happens roughly every 10 seconds on the average. And in the US, it estimates that it suggests an average person is exposed to 4,000 to 10,000 advertising messages per day via major media channels. And then it just keeps coming all the time. And then in the US, again, estimates suggest an average person is exposed to 4,000, okay, that's a repeat, 10,000 advertising messages per day, via media networks or media channels. Then what changed? What changed came from the shared moments to fragmented attention. Audiences once gathered around TV prime time, but now they consume media across countless apps, platforms, and devices. So like I said, we used to have family TV times in Nigeria. For those of us in the media, we call it family-oriented, sessions or time. But we don't have family-oriented, times anymore. Families don't gather to watch TV because people watch what they individually want to watch. And even when they are together, they have different devices and consuming different content, at the same time. Mobile as the new hub, smartphones become the dominant gateway to entertainment, news, and socializing, condensing the world into the palm of a hand and accelerating on-the-go consumption. All right? So if you look at mobile phone penetration in Nigeria, is growing consistently on a daily basis. And as mobile phones with that infrastructure gets into the hands of people, there is more distractions because they have a lot to consume with their mobile phone. All right, so, and I'm sure that if you look at the audiences that are gathered for this session today, maybe over 40% are on their mobile phones, either receiving calls, checking their emails, or they are busy with one thing or the other online. So that is the problem that attention is facing. The endless scroll, infinite refresh feeds, TikTok, Instagram, and so on and so forth, bombard users with content, creating fatigue, reduced recall, and a cycle of rapid content churn. So you need to repeatedly talk to the consumer for it to stick, because the consumer keeps scrolling, the consumer keeps checking what is happening on X, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and possibly even getting engaged with those contents. So such a consumer is completely distracted, and then you have harder time to reach that consumer. Multitasking as the norm. Viewers split their attention across multiple screens, watching TV while scrolling Instagram, gaming while chatting, diluting focus on any single message. And so that is why we say to brands that you do not only target consumers physically, you also target them, virtually. The reason is because the physical disposition of the consumer is sometimes divided because it's also virtually connected to other devices. And so whilst you are connecting with the consumer on your TV, all right, so it's also important to look at other ways because the consumer's attention is fragmented across different screens. Then the rise of bite-sized content, short form formats, that you see on Reels, on TikToks, train consumers to expect immediacy, making long-form message harder to sustain. So today we talk about skippable ads, sometimes 15 seconds, 10 seconds, all right? So you ask yourself, do these ads actually stick? They don't really stick, all right? So how out-of-home fills the attention spans therefore? Next slide. So why does it work in the age of attention scarcity? Attention as a scarce commodity, digital clutter and fragmented feeds make consumers focus harder to capture. Then out-of-home operates differently, free from digital noise. It creates undivided moments of consumer attention. Then science-backed effectiveness. Neuroscience and psychology explain why out-of-home captures and sustains attention. We're going to see this as we go into the next slides. So neuroscience here shows out-of-home captures attention naturally. How does this work? You see, motion triggers what researchers call a primitive survival response. Human vision evolved to detect motion first. If there's a strike or something here now, all right, what is it saying? Because of the way the brain is wired, there's going to be a reaction. All right? So as moving objects often signal either threats or opportunities, the body is going to respond to it, whether it is signaling opportunities or is signaling threats. A 2020 study published in Vision Research found that motion activates the superior colliculus region of the brain, which orients our gaze reflexively towards stimuli, even before we are consciously aware of what we are looking at. And that is why if there's maybe something hard drops on the roof. So the next reaction is for us to begin to scamper for safety because the human brain reacts to motion. The neurological reality gives out-of-home formats like digital billboards and transit advertising a significant advantage. So this is how you can also begin to look at how to take advantage of the way the brain works, to tie it to out-of-home. When a creative element moves or changes, it hijacks our attention system in ways that static digital art simply cannot match because the brain reacts to motion, reacts to movement, especially on digital out-of-home. So unlike digital environment where consumers have learned to ignore banner spaces and scroll past sponsor content, physical advertising spaces haven't been trained out of our attention system. The brain still treats them as novel environment elements worthy of processing. So if you have a very innovative, creative out-of-home material, what it's saying is that you make the brain become curious. And so the consumer wants to examine what it is that you're selling, what is the proposition, what is in there for me, all right? So how can I be part of this? So what is this telling me? Is there an opportunity here? That's the way the brain works, and actually out-of-home can take advantage of that natural system that God has created. OH impact on recall and recognition. All right? And I think that credit is because when the consumer exits his home and is in transit, he is a bit in a relaxed situation to process. And I think that's one of the advantages that out-of-home has, because recall rate here is quite high, because it's saying that 86%, okay, of higher than digital radio, podcast, and streaming. So your recall rate on out of home is actually beginning to shoot beyond, I would say the traditional channels that we know. And then Nielsen is saying that out of home recall at 47%, but digital at 35%. And then context strengthens memory. People remember the where and when of seeing out of home. It sticks. And that is why, which I'm going to talk about later, if you look at what most brands are doing, it's more of real estate. They are building apertures that make it seem like they own that environment. So it's not just to have a static billboard or have, digital billboards, but to begin to look at how do I own that environment? How does it become more like a place to remember? Okay, so people can actually make reference to that location because of what you've built. So we're going to see some examples. Then daily routines, spaced repetition effect, boosting long-term recall. Next. Why our home stands out? You can't scroll past a billboard, no skip ad button. All right, like what you have on TV.